All right, so buckle up, everybody, because today we are diving deep into the wild world of Bitcoin, crypto, and AI.
Sounds exciting.
It is, especially today, February 5th, 2025, because things are really heating up.
Oh, yeah.
Big time. The crypto market is feeling the pressure, and what's really fascinating to me is how world events are directly impacting Bitcoin's price.
I mean, we've definitely seen that connection strengthen over the years, right?
Yeah, for sure. We're talking about some major moves from the White House and a tense situation brewing over in Gaza.
Those are definitely some geopolitical hot potatoes.
Exactly. And that's what we're going to unpack today. We've got some really intriguing regulatory developments in the U.S., a major exchange collapse that's sending shockwaves through the industry, and then Coinbase making some bold moves overseas.
Always got to keep an eye on Coinbase.
Oh, for sure. And then, just to add a little extra spice to the mix, we'll jet over to the Middle East, where the AI scene is absolutely exploding.
Wow, sounds like we've got a packed agenda today.
We do. Let's start with the elephant in the room, shall we? The crypto market sentiment is officially in fear territory.
Yeah, you can almost feel the nervousness in the air.
Right. And there's a lot of finger-pointing going on right now, with some strong opinions emerging about how mainstream media is portraying President Trump's actions.
Yeah, I've seen some of that.
Some are saying the media's negativity is a big factor in Bitcoin's price dip.
It's definitely playing a role. But remember, the market is driven by a multitude of forces. It's tempting to latch onto a single narrative, but a more nuanced view is necessary.
So we need to look beyond the headlines.
Exactly. I always encourage seeking information from a diverse range of sources, including primary sources, like going straight to the source.
So, like checking out the White House website itself.
Precisely. Form your own opinion based on the facts, not just what's being spun in the media.
Great advice. Okay, well, speaking of geopolitical hot potatoes, the situation in Gaza is adding another layer of complexity to the mix.
It's a delicate situation for sure.
Trump's recent actions have sparked a lot of debate. Some see them as a genuine push for peace, while others view them as a power grab.
It's hard to say what the long-term implications will be, but it has the potential to impact the entire region.
And as we know, global events tend to have a ripple effect on the crypto market.
Oh, absolutely. So much is interconnected.
Okay, so how does all this geopolitical drama translate into actual market movements? What should we be watching for?
Keep a close eye on those key metrics: stablecoin volume, the 24-hour trading volume, and the overall cryptocurrency market volume.
Okay, so break that down for me.
Well, for example, we're currently seeing stablecoin volume at $166.95 billion.
Wow, that's a big number.
It is. And it suggests that a lot of investors are moving their assets into stablecoins, which are typically pegged to a fiat currency like the US dollar.
So they're looking for a safe haven in the midst of all the uncertainty.
Exactly. They want to protect their capital from the volatility of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies.
Makes sense. Okay, well, speaking of navigating stormy seas, let's talk about the U.S. regulatory landscape. The recent press conference on crypto regulation left a lot of people scratching their heads.
I think disappointed is an understatement.
It's like they were trying to dance around the issue without actually taking a clear stance.
And despite having over a decade to prepare, the guidance on Bitcoin still remains incredibly murky.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
What was particularly interesting, though, was their emphasis on stablecoins.
Interesting. Why do you think that is?
Well, some argue that it's because stablecoins are easier for regulators to wrap their heads around.
Because they're more similar to traditional financial instruments.
Precisely. But the concern is that this laser focus on stablecoins might overshadow the truly groundbreaking potential of Bitcoin and decentralized finance.
So explain this to me, because I think this is where a lot of people get confused. Why would focusing on stablecoins be seen as sidestepping the real innovation behind Bitcoin?
Okay, imagine Bitcoin is a revolutionary new car engine, capable of unparalleled speed and efficiency.
I like where this is going.
Now imagine regulators focusing all their attention on the car's tires.
Okay, I see what you're saying. The tires are important, but they're not the core innovation.
Exactly. Some believe that this intense focus on stablecoins is a way for regulators to control the crypto space without fully understanding or embracing the disruptive potential of Bitcoin.
So, are we sacrificing the soul of the crypto movement for a seat at the regulatory table?
It's a valid question. Some believe that working within the existing framework is the best way to ensure the long-term success of crypto, while others argue that true innovation lies in operating outside of those traditional systems.
It's a tough balancing act.
It really is. And the outcome of this debate could have far-reaching implications for the future of finance.
No pressure, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, before we get too lost in the philosophical weeds, let's bring it back to something a little more concrete. Coinbase's expansion into the UK.
Ah, yes, Coinbase. They're always making headlines.
They secured a virtual asset service provider registration in the UK. Seems like a pretty big deal.
It is, especially with the U.S. regulatory landscape being so uncertain at the moment.
So what does this move tell us?
It's a sign that U.S. exchanges are gaining traction on the global stage, even as they face regulatory hurdles at home.
They're not letting the U.S. slow them down.
Not at all. They're playing the long game, and they're looking beyond U.S. borders for growth opportunities.
It's like they're planting their flag and saying, we're here to stay and we're going global.
Exactly. And it sends a signal to other U.S. exchanges that international expansion is a viable path forward, especially given the evolving regulatory landscape in the U.S.
Okay, so while the U.S. might be playing catch-up in some areas, American companies like Coinbase are still leading the charge in others.
Innovation often happens in spite of regulation, not because of it.
It's a reminder that the crypto world is truly a global phenomenon.
Absolutely. Borders are becoming increasingly irrelevant in this digital age.
All right, let's shift gears and head over to the Middle East, where the AI scene is absolutely booming.
The Middle East is quickly becoming a hotbed for AI innovation.
We're seeing major players like Nestle making big moves in Dubai.
Their partnership with the Dubai AI campus is a prime example of how established companies are leveraging AI for a competitive edge.
They're tapping into that expertise at the Dubai AI campus to identify emerging trends and glean insights from all sorts of consumer data.
It's like they're building a crystal ball to predict the future of food and beverage.
And they're not just sitting on that knowledge. They're using it to optimize their supply chains, develop new products, and personalize their marketing efforts.
It's a smart move, especially in a region that's known for its discerning consumers and its rapid adoption of new technologies.
They're definitely playing to win.
And speaking of winning, the startup scene in Saudi Arabia is on fire, particularly in the AI space.
Yeah, there's a lot of energy there.
vminds.ai, a Saudi Arabian AI startup, just secured a six-figure pre-seed funding round. And they're doing something really interesting, making AI accessible to a wider audience.
That's a game changer.
Their platform consolidates over 150 AI tools and makes them easy to use and integrate into various business processes.
So it's like a one-stop shop for all things AI.
Exactly. And it removes the barriers to entry for businesses and individuals who want to harness the power of AI but don't have the technical expertise to build their own solutions from scratch.
So we've got established giants like Nestle embracing AI in Dubai, and scrappy startups like vminds.ai pushing the boundaries in Saudi Arabia.
It's an exciting time to be watching the AI landscape evolve in the Middle East.
It seems like they're quickly becoming a global hub for AI innovation.
I think it's safe to say that the next big breakthroughs in AI could come from anywhere in the world.
And that's a really exciting thought. All right, so we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive, but there's much more to explore.
We've only just scratched the surface.
But here's a question I want to leave you with as we head into the next part of our deep dive. We've talked a lot about stablecoin regulation, but should we be concerned that the original vision of Bitcoin, a decentralized and permissionless system, is being overshadowed?
That's a great question, and one we'll delve into further in just a moment. Is the current focus on stablecoins a temporary blip or a sign of a broader shift away from the decentralized ethos that Bitcoin championed? We'll explore that and more right after the break.
Stay tuned.
Welcome back. So before the break, we were talking about stablecoin regulation and whether that's overshadowing Bitcoin's original vision.
Yeah, it's like, is this a sign that we're moving away from true decentralization?
Right, it's a complex issue.
It is. Because on one hand, stablecoins offer that bridge between the traditional financial system and the crypto world, right?
Yeah, exactly. They make it easier for people to get into the market, especially those who might be hesitant because of the volatility.
They provide that stability, reduce the risk a bit.
And from a regulatory standpoint, they're a lot easier to understand, more familiar,
Yeah, like they fit into the existing boxes better.
Right, they're more like the financial instruments that regulators are used to dealing with.
But is that focus on familiarity coming at the expense of real innovation?
That's the million-dollar question. Are we missing out on the true potential of decentralized finance by focusing so heavily on stablecoins, the kind of innovation that Bitcoin embodies?
It's almost like we're sacrificing the soul of the crypto movement for a seat at the regulatory table.
That's a good way to put it. It's a delicate balancing act.
It is. Some people say that regulation is inevitable, that working within the system is the best way to ensure long-term success.
And they might be right. But others argue that the real power of crypto lies in its ability to operate outside of those traditional
To
systems.
disrupt the status quo.
Exactly. And that embracing regulation could actually stifle innovation.
So which path do we choose? It feels like we're at a crossroads.
It's a tough choice, and the outcome could have massive implications for the future of finance.
Well, no pressure or anything.
Just the future of finance at stake.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, well, speaking of navigating tricky situations, let's circle back to Coinbase's expansion into the UK.
Ah, yes, Coinbase. Always one step ahead.
It seems like a pretty strategic move, especially with all the regulatory uncertainty in the US right now.
It's a smart play. They're securing their position on the global stage.
So it's more than just a win for
I
Coinbase.
think so, yeah. It could have a ripple effect on the entire industry. Remember, regulation often follows innovation.
Oh, that's interesting. You think Coinbase's success in the UK could actually pave the way for more favorable regulations elsewhere?
Potentially. It sets a precedent, shows that crypto companies can operate within a regulated framework.
Without sacrificing their core values.
Right. And it could boost consumer confidence, too.
Yeah, it's like a seal of approval, a stamp of legitimacy.
Exactly. And that kind of normalization is crucial for wider adoption. It makes crypto seem less scary to the average person.
So Coinbase's UK expansion, it's more than just a business headline. It's a potential catalyst for change.
It could change the game for the entire crypto industry.
Absolutely. But let's not forget that the crypto market is still a bit of a roller coaster.
Volatility is the name of the game.
And the recent collapse of the Virex exchange in India is a reminder that security is still a major concern.
A stark reminder.
A massive hack, millions of dollars lost, and creditors left in the lurch.
It really highlights the vulnerabilities that exist even in the world of decentralized finance.
It's like a crack in the armor.
And it underscores the importance of due diligence, both for investors and for the platforms themselves.
So what lessons can we learn from this debacle?
Transparency is key. Investors need to understand how their funds are being managed, what security measures are in place.
Right, they need to ask the tough questions.
Exactly. And for exchanges, security needs to be the top priority.
It's not just about preventing hacks, but also about mitigating the damage if a breach does occur.
Absolutely. Multiple layers of security, robust risk management protocols, clear communication channels.
It's about building trust,
Yeah.
right? In a system that's still relatively new and untested.
Trust is paramount. The Virex collapse, it's a wake-up call for the entire industry. We need greater transparency, greater accountability, and a relentless focus on security.
Because at the end of the day, it's people's hard-earned money that's at stake.
Exactly. Protecting that money, that should be the #1 priority for anyone operating in the crypto space.
All right, so a cautionary tale, but also an opportunity to learn and improve.
Absolutely. Let's shift gears now and head back to the Middle East where AI is taking center stage.
Yeah, it's fascinating to see how different regions are approaching AI in their own unique ways.
It's not a one-size-fits-all approach. Each region is leveraging AI based on its specific needs and resources.
And it seems like the Middle East is particularly well-positioned to become a global leader in AI.
I think so too. There's a lot of momentum there. Significant investments in infrastructure, education, and research.
Governments are really backing AI initiatives, and there's a growing pool of talent.
It's a recipe for success.
It is. We talked earlier about Nestle's partnership with the Dubai AI campus, which is a great example of how established companies are integrating AI into their operations.
Right. They're using AI to optimize their supply chains, develop new products, and personalize their marketing.
They're really thinking ahead.
And it's not just big companies. The startup scene in the Middle East is also buzzing with AI innovation. Remember, vminds.ai.
Yeah, the startup that's democratizing access to AI tools.
Exactly. They're just one example of the many promising startups emerging in the region.
It's really exciting to see this level of energy and creativity, especially in a field as transformative as AI.
The Middle East is a region with a rich history of innovation, and it seems like they're ready to write a new chapter in that story, with AI playing a starring role.
So we've got established players like Nestle and up-and-comers like vminds.ai. It seems like the Middle East is quickly becoming a global hub for AI innovation.
I think that's a fair assessment. The AI landscape is evolving rapidly, and the Middle East is definitely a region to watch.
It's a reminder that the future of technology is being written all over the world, not just in Silicon Valley.
Innovation knows no borders.
All right, so we've talked about the potential for AI to revolutionize industries and societies, But what about the impact on individuals? How will AI affect our daily lives?
That's the big question, isn't it?
It is. AI is already all around us, from our smartphones to our online shopping experiences. But this is just the beginning.
Right, we're just scratching the surface of what AI is capable of.
It has the potential to transform healthcare, education, transportation.
And so many other industries. It could even help us solve some of the world's most pressing problems, like climate change.
It sounds almost too good to be true.
Well, there are potential downsides, too. We need to be mindful of those.
Like what?
Job displacement is a big concern. As AI becomes more sophisticated, it's going to automate tasks that are currently done by humans.
Yeah, that's something a lot of people are worried about.
And it's a legitimate concern. We need to find ways to retrain workers who are displaced by AI and create new opportunities for them.
It's about adapting to the changing landscape and making sure everyone has the skills they need to thrive in an AI-powered world.
Exactly. We need to embrace lifelong learning.
And it's not just about jobs. There are ethical considerations, too.
Oh, absolutely. Privacy, bias, the potential for misuse, these are all things we need to address.
Like facial recognition technology, for example. It can be used for security, but it can also be used for surveillance and to erode privacy.
It's a slippery slope. We need to be very careful about how we use this technology.
And what about algorithmic bias?
Another huge issue. AI systems are trained on data, and if that data is biased, the AI will be biased too.
So we need to make sure that the data is diverse and representative.
Absolutely. We need to build ethical AI systems that are fair, transparent, and accountable.
We need to make sure that AI is used for good, not for evil.
It's a responsibility we all share. Developers, investors, policymakers, and everyday citizens.
We all need to be part of the conversation.
Because the future of AI, it's not predetermined. It's something that we are all creating together.
And hopefully we can create a future where AI empowers us, enhances our lives, and helps us build a better world.
That's the goal, isn't it?
It is. All right, well, we've covered a lot of ground in this second part of our deep dive, but there's still more to explore.
We've only just scratched the surface.
In the final part, we'll step back and consider the bigger picture. What are the long-term implications of all these technological advancements? What does the future hold?
It's going to be an interesting conversation.
Stay tuned. And we are back for the final part of our deep dive. I feel like we've gone down so many rabbit holes, from that whole crypto market roller coaster to AI taking off in Dubai.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind tour for sure. I'm still thinking about those stablecoins. Really got me wondering about the future of decentralization.
Yeah, me too, you know. There's kind of a philosophical question at this point, right?
Yeah.
What does the future of finance actually look like?
Right. Exactly. It feels like we're at a crossroads, with different parts of the world taking such different approaches.
Well, and that's what's been standing out to me, too. It seems like some countries are all in on innovation, while others are kind of dragging their feet.
I see what you mean. Like, you've got Dubai and Saudi Arabia really leaning into AI, investing heavily, making big moves.
Right. And then you've got the U.S., which has always been a leader in tech and finance, but it seems like they're being a bit more cautious, a bit slower to embrace these new technologies.
Yeah, and that hesitation could have consequences, you know? We've seen it happen before. Countries that are slow to adapt risk falling behind.
It's a wake-up call, like innovate or become irrelevant.
Exactly. And it's not just about government policies either. It's about creating a culture of innovation.
That entrepreneurial spirit.
Right. Encouraging risk-taking, supporting startups, building ecosystems where these new technologies can thrive.
It's about creating that Silicon Valley magic, but on a global scale.
I like that. And maybe the shift in the global landscape is a good thing. Maybe it'll push those who've become complacent to step up their game.
A little healthy competition never hurt anyone, right?
Competition drives innovation. But at the end of the day, collaboration is key too. This is a global dance. We're all figuring it out together.
That's a good way to put it. Okay, well, before we wrap things up completely, I want to leave our listeners with something to ponder. We've talked a lot about the potential upsides of all this, but what about the potential risks? What are the things that keep you up at night?
Oh man, there are a few. Like, what happens if AI becomes so advanced that it surpasses human intelligence?
Right, that's the classic sci-fi scenario.
But it's a real question. What are the ethical implications of that? Do we lose control? Do we even understand what we're creating?
It's kind of unsettling to think about.
Yeah, it is. And then there's the potential for misuse, too. I mean, we've already seen cryptocurrencies used for illicit activities.
And as these technologies become more powerful, so does the potential for harm.
Exactly. That's why regulation and oversight are so crucial. We need to find ways to balance the benefits of these technologies with the need to protect society.
But how do you regulate something that's constantly evolving, that's moving faster than the rule makers can keep up with?
That's the challenge, isn't it? It's like trying to hit a moving target.
It is. But we can't let fear paralyze us. We can't just shut down innovation because we're afraid of what might happen.
Right. It's about finding that balance, embracing the potential while being mindful of the risks.
And ultimately, I think it comes down to this. Technology is a tool. It's up to us to decide how we use it.
Whether we use it to build a better world or to tear it down.
So we need to choose wisely. We need to have these conversations, ask the tough questions, and hold each other accountable.
That's our responsibility, isn't it? To shape the future, to steer these technologies in the right direction.
I think so. All right, well, that's about all the time we have for today. I want to thank you, our listeners, for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure exploring these topics with you.
It has. We hope you've learned something new, that you're feeling a little bit more informed, and maybe even a little bit more hopeful about the future.
Because the future is what we make it.
It is. So let's go out there and make it a good one.
To the future.
Until next time.